Hello everyone. Today I am here to discuss the syllabus of mathematics for both TS and AP ESET. As we know, ESET consists of 200 marks. 200 marks. From that, the mathematics consists of around 50 marks of weightage. 50 మార్క్స్ ఆఫ్ వెయిటేజ్ అంటే ఈ సెట్ మొత్తం 200 మార్క్స్ ఉంటే అందులో 50 మార్క్స్ అనేది ఓన్లీ ఫర్ మ్యాథమెటిక్స్. ద అనదర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్ ఐ హ్యావ్ టు సే బిఫోర్ స్టార్టింగ్ దిస్ ఈస్ it is easy to score these 50 marks or these 200 marks from ESET because we don't have any negative marking. So if we put any wrong option also, we need not to worry about the losing of marks from these 200. Now these 50 marks can be scored from these 8 chapters of mathematics. This 8 chapter consists of matrices, trigonometry, analytical geometry, differentiation and its applications, integration and its applications, differential equations, Laplace transforms and Fourier series. We'll learn about matrices. These matrices is divided into 3 sections. One is matrices, partial fractions and logarithms. The weightage of these matrices is 7 marks. It consists around 20 topics. These matrices consist of definition of matrix, types of matrix, algebra of matrix, transport of matrix, symmetrics, q-symmetrics, minor finding, cofactor finding, determinants finding, properties, Laplace expansion, singular, non-singular matrices, adjoint and multiplicative, inverse of square matrices, system of linear equations. These are some of the topics in matrices, and one of the most important topics is Cramer's rule, matrix inversion method, Gauss-Jordan method. And another topic is partial fractions. From these partial fractions we learn about converting of rational fraction into partial fractions, and from logarithms we learn definition of logarithms and properties of logarithms like exponential functions and logarithm functions. We can expect 5 marks from this matrices section, and we can expect 2 marks from this partial fractions. It is the easiest chapter and good scoring chapter. The important topics in this chapter are types of matrices, determinants and of square matrix, system of linear equations in 3 variables, solutions by Cramer's rule, matrix inversion method and Gauss-Jordan method, resolving of rational function into partial fractions, exponential functions and logarithm functions. These are the some topics which are repeated from past 10 years. From these topics we can expect around 3 to 4 marks of each. This chapter is most important because maximum scoring can be done from this chapter. This chapter consists around 7 to 8 marks of weightage. Now we learn about second chapter called trigonometry. The weightage of this chapter is around 10 marks. This chapter is divided into 3 sections: properties of trigonometric functions, properties of triangles and complex numbers. These properties of trigonometry functions consist of ratios of compound angles, multiple angles, submultiple angles, transformation of products into sum or difference or vice versa. And the properties of triangle consist of sine rule, cosine rule, tangent rule, projection rule, and solving of triangle like 3 sides are equal, 2 sides and 1 side are equal, 1 side and 2 angles are given, inverse trigonometry functions and hyperbolic functions. Some of the complex number topics are properties of modulus, amplitude and conjugate of complex numbers, arithmetic operations on complex numbers. The weightage of this trigonometry is divided into properties of trigonometry functions and properties of triangles consist around 8 marks and complex number consist of around 2 marks. అంటే ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఆఫ్ ట్రిగ్నోమెట్రిక్ ఫంక్షన్స్ నుంచి ప్రాపర్టీస్ ఆఫ్ ట్రయాంగిల్స్ ఈ రెండు సెక్షన్స్ యూజ్ చేసుకొని మనకు 8 మార్క్స్ వరకు వచ్చే ఛాన్స్ ఉంది. ప్లస్ కాంప్లెక్స్ నెంబర్స్ నుంచి 2 మార్క్స్ వరకు వచ్చే ఛాన్స్ ఉంది. దిస్ ఈజ్ ద మోస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ చాప్టర్ ఫ్రమ్ దిస్ మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో ఈజియెస్ట్ చాప్టర్ కంపేర్ టు అదర్ చాప్టర్స్. This is the most scoring chapter from this total entire 8 chapters because it is around 10 marks of weightage. The important topics in this second chapter, trigonometry chapter, are transformations, ratio of compound angles, trigonometric rules, solving a triangle, hyperbolic functions, properties of modulus, amplitude form, Euler's form. These are some of the topics which are most repeated from past 10 years. From this each topic we can expect 1 to 2 marks. Like from transformation we can expect 1 mark. From ratios of compound angles we can expect 1 mark. From trigonometric of rules we can expect 2 marks. From solving a triangle 1 mark. From hyperbolic functions 1 mark. From amplitude form or Euler's form. From these 2 topics we can expect 1 mark or 2 marks according to the before topics. This chapter is most important chapter because maximum scoring is from this chapter itself. The equations and problem solving in this chapter is somewhat difficult, but if we understand the concept, we can crack it. We can crack these 10 marks. We can crack this 10 marks easily. We learn the concept in this chapter and we apply this concept in problem solving so that we can achieve these 10 marks easily. The analytical geometry is around 6 marks of weightage. This analytical geometry is divided into 3 sections: straight lines, circles and conic sections. The straight line consists around different forms of straight lines, distance of a point from a line, angles between 2 lines, intersection of 2 non-parallel lines and distance between 2 parallel lines. From circles, equation of circle by giving a center and radius, by giving ends of diameter, and general equation of circle, finding the center and radius by circle equation, finding the center and point of circumference by giving the circle equation, 3 non-collinear points of circle, tangent and center of the circle, equation of tangent, normal at the point of circle. These are some of the topics which are to be covered in circle. Conic sections. From these conic sections we learn properties of parabola, ellipse and hyperbola and standard forms of vertex at origin. That means these parabola, ellipse and hyperbola consist of origin. That origin vertex we learn about that origin. And this is also one of the easiest chapter and good scoring chapter. The important topics in this chapter are, that means the important topics in this analytical geometry are straight line equation, properties of straight line equation, circle equation, properties of circle equation and parabola equation. The most repeated topics are these from past 5 years. From this straight line equation we can expect 2 marks and properties of straight line equation we can expect 1 mark. From circle equation we can expect 1 mark. From properties of circle equation we can expect 1 mark and parabola equation we can expect 1 mark. These are some of the most important and most repeated topics from this analytical geometry. These are also somewhat problem solving, but if we understand the each concept we can crack the topics easily and we can score these 6 marks of weightage easily. We'll learn about next chapter so called differentiation and its applications. This chapter consists around 8 marks of weightage. This chapter divided into 4 sections so called functions and limits, derivatives, maxima and minima, partial differentiation. These functions and limits consist of standard limits, differentiation of sum, product, coefficient of functions, function of functions, trigonometry and inverse trigonometrics, exponential, logarithm, hyperbolic functions, implicate, explicate and parametric functions. And from derivative we can we learn about derivative of a function with respect to another functions, second order of derivatives, geometrical applications of derivatives, angle between curves, tangents and normals, increasing and decreasing functions. In maxima and minima, we used to find single variable functions by using second order derivative, and we find rate and measure. From partial differentiation, we find partial derivative up to second order and Euler's theorem. The important topics in this differentiation and its applications are differentiation of trigonometric functions, inverse trigonometric functions, hyperbolic functions, and derivative of second order and its increasing or decreasing functions, partial differentiation, and Euler's theorem. These are most important repeated topics from past 6 to 8 years. From this each topic we can expect 2 to 3 marks, like from trigonometric functions. From trigonometric functions we can expect 1 mark. From inverse trigonometric functions we can expect 1 mark. From hyperbolic functions we can expect 2 mark. From derivative second order derivation and increasing and decreasing functions we can expect 2 marks. And from Euler's theorem we can expect 1 mark. And from partial differentiation we can expect 1 mark. From this chapter we can expect nearly 8 marks of weightage. This chapter is correlated to upcoming BTech also. This is also one of the easiest chapter compared to others. In this chapter, the equations and problem solving are somewhat difficult, but if we understand the concept, we can crack these topics easily. And we are here to learn the topics which are important, and we can learn this concept of this chapter is easy and we can apply in this problem solving. మనకి చాప్టర్ అప్కమింగ్ బీటెక్లో కూడా కంటిన్యూషన్ ఉంటుంది. ఈ 8 చాప్టర్స్ అనేది మోస్ట్ important chapter. Now we'll learn about next chapter, so called integration and its applications. This is consists around 8 marks of weightage. This integration and applications consist of 2 sections: indefinite integrals and applications of integration. Indefinite integrals consist of standard forms, integration by decomposition of integrands, integration of trigonometrics of trigonometric functions, integration of algebraic functions, integration of exponential functions, integration of logarithm functions, integration of hyperbolic functions, and integration by substitution, integration by reducible, integration by irreducible coordinate factors, integration by parts, different integrals of properties, different integrals as limits and sum. From applications of integration we can find areas of plane curves and volumes of solids of revolutions, and important topics like mean and RMS values, trapezoidal rules, Simpson 1/3 rule, and approximate integrals. This indefinite integrals is around 4 marks of scoring, and applications of integration we can score 4 marks. This chapter is most important because the maximum scoring is also from this chapter. The important topics from this integration and its applications are different types of integration functions like algorithms, like exponential, like trigonometric, like inverse trigonometric, etc. And we find integration by substitution. We find different integrals by properties, indefinite integrals by limits and sum, mean and RMS values, trapezoidal rule, Simpson 1/3 rule. These are the most important topics repeated from past 10 years. From these different types of integration functions we can expect 1 mark. From integration by substitution we can expect 2 marks. From mean and RMS values we can expect 1 mark. From trapezoidal rule and Simpson 1/3 rule we can expect 2 marks. From definite integral properties we can expect 1 mark. Totally from this integration and these applications we can expect around 8 marks of weightage. Now we'll learn next chapter, so called differential equation. These differential equations consist of around 7 marks of weightage. It consists of definition of differential equations, order and degree of differential equations, formation of differential equations, solutions of differential equations by first order, second order, and Bernoulli's equations, and second order differential equations with coefficient both homogeneous and non-homogeneous, and finding particular integrals like e power of ax, sin ax, cos ax, etc. It is one of the easiest chapter and good scoring chapter. The equations and problem solving is difficult in this chapter, but if you understand the concept, we can easily crack these concepts and these topics easily. The important topics in these differential equations are order and degree of differential equations, formation of differential equations, linear differential equation like form d by dx of plus py plus equals to q, Bernoulli's equations, second order of linear differential with constant coefficients like both homogeneous and non-homogeneous, like e power of x sin ax, cos ax, cos hx, sin hx, etc. These are the topics which are mostly repeated from past 10 years, and these topics are most scoring topics. These are the most scoring topics. These topics are the most scoring topics. From this each topic we can expect 1 to 2 marks easily. From order and degree of equation we can expect 1 mark. From formation of differential equation we can expect 2 marks. From Bernoulli's equation we can expect 1 mark. From second order differential equation we can expect 1 mark. Totally from this integration and its application we can expect around 7 marks of weightage. Now we will learn about Laplace transform. The weightage of this Laplace transform is around 2 marks. Around 2 marks. The Laplace transform consists of Laplace transform of elementary functions, linear property of Laplace transform, first shifting property, change of scale property, multiplication and division by Laplace transforms, unit step function, inverse Laplace transformation, shifting theorem, change of scale property of inverse Laplace transform, multiplication and division by S of inverse Laplace transforms, and Laplace transform to solve linear differential equations, etc. The scoring of this chapter is less, but it's most important topics because we need not to lose these 2 marks. Each and every mark is important in our this 15 marks of mathematics. The important topics in this chapter are Laplace transform of elementary functions, inverse Laplace transform, change of scale property of both Laplace transforms and inverse Laplace transforms, convolution theorem, and applications of Laplace transforms. From these 3 topics like Laplace transform, inverse Laplace transform, and change scale of Laplace transform, we can expect 1 mark. And from convolution theorem and application of Laplace transform, we can expect 1 mark. These convolution theorem and applications are the most important, and it will be useful for further studies also in further steps of mathematics learning. Total we score around 2 marks of weightage from this chapter. And the last chapter we learn about Fourier series. The weightage of this Fourier series also 2 marks. The Fourier series consists of definition of Fourier series, Euler's formula over interval c, c plus 2 pi for determining the Fourier series coefficients like c. Fourier series of even and odd functions like interval from pi to pi, half range Fourier series like cosine series, sine series over interval 0 to pi. The important topics in this Fourier series are Euler's formula over interval of c, c plus 2 pi for determining the Fourier coefficient, and half range Fourier series of cosine and sine series over interval 0 to pi. From this Euler's formula, we can expect 1 mark, and from this half range Fourier series we can expect 1 mark. This sine series and cosine series is the most repeated question from past 5 years. This is the most important chapter, and it is also scoring is easily. And we can score easily from these chapters. These are the 8 chapters. We can score 50 marks easily. In this mathematics, we need not to worry about equations and problem solving method, because once we understand the concept, when we apply this concept on these equations or problem solving, we can crack the problems easily, and we can understand each and every equation and each and every problem solving easily, and we can expel our knowledge. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe the channel.